What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. So, didn't do the show yesterday, so let's catch up. Big news yesterday. Reggie Bush has gotten his Heisman back from 2005. Thank goodness. Took way too long for the NCAA to do that. The whole reason was that USC gave gifts to his family when he was going to USC. So they took it away for that reason. I never really agreed with it. I don't think anybody in their right state of mind did. Once the NIL stuff started going crazy, people were like, oh, wait. What he did was like nothing. What's going on right now? It's legal what's going on right now, but like, why does he not have his Heisman Trophy back? People have been clamoring for him to get it back for years, and he finally did. So, thankfully, Reggie Bush has gotten his Heisman back about 19 years too late. He had taken him with 2005, never should have happened. It was child's play back then, it was definitely child's play now, but his Heisman has been rightfully returned to him. So congratulations to Reggie Bush. But NBA and NHL playoffs, and then a little bit of NFL draft talk, because that is, of course, tonight at 8 p.m. So let's get going with that, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So Minnesota beat Phoenix 105-93 in Game 2 to take a 2-0 series lead. Jaden Daniels, 25 points and 9 rebounds. Very nice game from him. Anthony Edwards said after the game that they got KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels who can guard him. He's a really good player, Jaden McDaniels. He had a great year last year. Was an all-defense kind of guy last year. But he added some offense to his game this year, was just good defensively, and added some offense to his game. Had a very good year. Minnesota was a very good team. I picked him to win the series for a reason. I did think it would go 7 games, but that's looking like that's not going to happen because they're up 2-0. Phoenix just isn't good enough defensively. They're very thin on the bench. Minnesota's just better defensively. They're deeper and just a better team. Indiana beat the Bucks 125-108 to win Game 2 and even up that series. Big game from Pascal Siakam, 37-11-6. Look, the Bucks really miss Giannis. I mean, Damon 34 points. You see, what he did in Game 1, he won't happen every night. Like, he had 35 in the first half in Game 1. Like, he had another great game, Game 2 at 34. But they already need him back. And he would be the guy that would be guarding Pascal Siakam. Obviously, to make it a little easier on the Bucks, and they already need him back. If they don't get him back, I picked Indiana to win Frame 7 for a reason. If Milwaukee was here, they'd probably win 5 games. Without him, I don't know who they have guarding Siakam. I guess Brook Lopez is a very good defender, but now who do you have guarding Miles Turner? So I don't know. What how they're gonna do. I mean, the whole thing with Milwaukee. I mean, they've not played well since Doc Rivers took the head coaching job there, and they're not good defensively. They're not as deep as they once were. In the past years because of the Damian Lillard trade. Indiana isn't good defensively either, and they're very inexperienced, especially compared to Milwaukee, but they're a very good team. They're very good offensively. Obviously, with Halliburton and Siakam is a really, really good duo. Halliburton still down after that, after he was looking like he was going to be all first team in the first half of the year, but still had a very good year. Still an All-NBA caliber point guard, still incredible young talent. Obviously, Siakam, Miles Turner, and all those young guys that got Mofford and Drace Walker and all these guys. So, in fact, Giannis is going to be very tough for Milwaukee, a team that already struggles defensively, and now you take away a 2-time defensive player of the year and a first-team all-defense guy for the series, a guy who's probably top 5 in the world overall. They might have a hard time. But Mavericks-Clippers. Mavericks take Game 2, 96-93 to even that series at 1 game apiece. Luka with 32, 6, and 9 in the game. Actually, he played very well defensively. They were saying, like, when he was the nearest defender, the Clippers had a lot of trouble. So he played very, very well. Luka, he had a great game. Kind of similar to Game 1 where the Clippers, they were up big at one point. They were up like 27 in Game 1 at one point. Dallas kind of stormed back, but Clippers were able to hang on and win by like 12. Dallas was up by like 15 or so. Clippers made it a really, really tight game, and Dallas ends up winning by 3. It wasn't quite as close of a score. Paul hit a meaningless 3 as time expired. They were up by 6 with like a second left, and then Paul just drained some 35-foot 3 for no reason. But still, like, Clippers made a comeback, made it really tight at the end after being down by like 15 or so at one point. But Dallas hangs on and wins. And Mysterious shifts to Dallas with the series tied at 1 game apiece. On Wednesday, we had Miami and Boston. The Heat with a huge win over the Boston Celtics, 111-101. Tyler Hero, 24 points and 14 assists. He had a really big game for them. That's a huge win for Miami. Obviously, don't have Jimmy Butler. Obviously, they tend to meet in the playoffs every single year. 2 years ago, they met in the conference finals. Boston won in 7 games, and what was one of the best playoff years I've ever watched. Last year in the conference finals, of course, he had that crazy run as an 8 seed against Boston, who was the second best team in the entire NBA. And Heat go up 3-0. People were like, what's going on? Boston ends up forcing Game 7, then the Heat took care of business in Game 7 to advance to the NBA Finals. And now they're going to meet again here in the first round. Once again, the Heat are the 8 seed. They're able to sneak out of the play as the 8 seed. And they're playing that Boston's time in the first round. But no Jimmy Butler. He got hurt in the first playing round game against the Philadelphia 76ers. No, he got hurt early in the game. Tried to play through it. Didn't play. Clear was hampered. Did not play against Chicago, but they were able to win that game, obviously, and he's expected to be out for the series. Part of me thinks if the Heat can get into at least a sixth or seventh game, they can get to a sixth game. I think Jimmy, he might like take the doctor's head off if they don't let him play. But from what I've heard, he's not going to play in the series. But that's huge. In game 1 they got dominated. They definitely made adjustments. They shot the ball. Obviously, they had 23-3. It's a playoff single game record for the Miami Heat franchise. Obviously, they really struggled from the field. Game 1, was the complete opposite in game 2. They were better. They looked better defensively. They got dominated in the paint in game 1. The opposite was true in game 2. They were much better. Getting points in the paint, defending Boston well in the paint. Porzingis had an awful game. He really struggled. Was just 1 of 9 from the field with 6 points. Maybe his worst game of his Boston Celtics tenure this year. So, big win for the Miami Heat to get a split in Boston, heading to Game 3 in Miami. That is huge for the Heat. They have a chance to do the funniest and craziest thing ever. And the Thunder roll past the Pelicans, 124-92. Shy at 33 points in the game. Chet Holmgren, the MVP after the game, and I agree with him. This series is not going to be close. When I've heard Zion is not expected to play in the entire series. He's got hurt in that first playing game against the Lakers when they lost. I picked them to win 5 anyway. I think it's going to be this week. If Zion was healthy, I would still say OKC in 6 games. But without Zion, I picked him in 5. Yeah, this might be a sweep. Game 1 was really tight, obviously, but game 2 was not even remotely close. The series goes to New Orleans now, but they're up to a pretty commanding 2-0 lead. On to the NHL playoffs. Start Tuesday. Rangers beat the Capitals 4-3. Take a 2-0 series lead as it goes to Washington. This shouldn't be a very hard series for them. Washington made a playoff, but a skin in their teeth. Rangers were the best team in the league for a reason. I picked the Rangers to win 5. That's looking like it's on pace to do that. See what happens in Washington. As a Rangers fan, I'm very confident, though. Panthers win against Tampa 3-2 in overtime. Big win for Florida to go up 2-0 in the series. So, Tampa has not looked great. Obviously, they lost 3-2 in the first 2 games, but, Vasilevsky had a great game. He had 34 saves, but, Tampa has not played well in the series. They also haven't scored as well as we know they can. Only 4 goals in the first 2 games. Haven't been great defensively. They gave up 37 shots on goal in the second game. But Florida's a really good team. Obviously had a crazy run to the Cup final. It was an 8 seed last year. This year had a phenomenal year. One of the best teams in the league all season. They're incredibly talented offensively. They have a really good goalie in Sergei Bobrovsky, who had an incredible postseason last year. He's a very good goalie, very experienced, great in the playoffs. And they're going to be a tough team to beat. I would not be surprised if Florida and the Rangers end up meeting and that series goes 7. That could be an incredible series. But yeah, a lot of people picked Tampa to win. I wasn't one of them. I know, obviously, they got a ton of experience. Vasilevsky is historically great in the playoffs, but remember, they lost in the first round in 6 games to Toronto last year. And now, another year older, obviously they're not as deep as they once were a few years ago. Their runs might be over. And Florida's also really, really good. So, Florida's up 2-0, heading to Tampa. Colorado beats Winnipeg 5-2 with 7-6 Winnipeg in the first game, their high-scoring game, 5-2 Colorado in game 2. So that series is tied in 1 game apiece as he heads to game 3. And the Nashville probably beat the Canucks 4-1 in game 2, even though that series is 1 game apiece. All right, so before we close out, I'm going to give you 3 bold draft takes for tonight. My first one, I'll say a star player gets traded. There's a lot of guys who are on the market. T. Higgins, for the second time in the last couple of months, requested a trade. Another defensive end, Trey Hendrickson, who's really good, was requested a trade. He requested a trade. The Bengals said, yeah, we're not going to trade you. And now Hendrickson said, I hope they reconsider or give me a long-term deal or I might retire. So things are getting messy there on what's going on in Cincinnati. Now, could Ayuk, for something else to come to a long-term deal? He's been, upset on social media. Maybe Justin Jefferson, something crazy happened over there. There's speculation within the industry that Vikings were going to trade him this offseason. Also, they haven't agreed to a long-term deal yet. They don't have a quarterback. They're kind of in, that stuck in mediocrity phase. So I'll say one of these big names gets moved at the draft. Number 2, I will say the Vikings, either the Vikings or the Giants will make a big move to trade up and get one of these top quarterbacks. I'm not sure if it would be Drake May or Michael Penix or whoever it be, but I know Vikings are looking to do it. Giants really want Drake May or if not Michael Penix. So I think somebody's going to, most likely the Vikings or the Giants will make a big move to trade up into the top 5 or 6 picks at least and get one of these quarterbacks. And number 3, I think the Eagles are going to trade up. I'm hearing they're looking for. I think they're going to make a little bit more of an aggressive move than you think. They really need a corner. You think they're going to? I think they're going to try and get either Quinn Metro or Terry Arnold. Who I believe are the top 2 corners in this draft. But 22 right now, probably won't be able to get either of them if they stay there. So you think Miami's is right in front of them. You could see they could take one. Maybe Indianapolis at 15, they could take one. So I could see them make you would think, all right, maybe they'll trade up like 3 or 4 spots to like that 17, 18 area. I think they can go even further. I could see them looking at Indianapolis and being like, they're going to take a corner, and then what if Mitchell Arnold could get to Miami at 21, they'll take the other. Let's try and get in front of Indianapolis, or at least right behind them. Maybe they call up Seattle at 16. I think I think Howie Roseman makes an aggressive move. But that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.